There we go.
Oh, all right. All right, guys, let's give it a couple of seconds to connect.
No
But here
jokes.
we are again. I think we're on our third week of Insight Policing Live and Uncut. I'm Dr. Megan Price. We've got Mike Delaney, James Lawrence with us again, some long-term law enforcement officers. So today we wanted to get into some of the core pieces of insight policing, right? And so what insight policing is all about, how do you control challenging conflict situations in the moment in a way that prevents harm and gets through the problem and helps officers enforce the law, building trust at the same time. So one of the key pieces is really getting curious, right? Asking questions that are aimed towards understanding where somebody's emotions are coming from and why they're making decisions that are getting in the way of themselves or the officer getting the job done. So why do we get curious, Mike and Lawrence, and what difference does it make on the job?
Well, I think it makes a big difference. But for nothing else, it saves time, and you get to, like you just said, you get to the meat of what, or the nugget, one of your words of what's going on in their thought process. That way, it could be an investigations or a regular incident or for a patrol officer, but it allows you to focus on what's important to them. So, what do you think, Lawrence?
Yeah. So, from my aspect of it, it's like you said, it saves time. Sometimes it doesn't hurt if it takes a little time, if you have that time. And one of the things that I learned as many times as I've seen this video is how it gave him a better understanding of the situation and the issues that were happening. And he didn't press any issues. He just kept feeding off what the guy was telling him. Like you said, getting to the gold and the nugget, asking that curious question, and it helped him be more relatable to the individual.
Yeah, so we're going to watch a video where there's an officer who uses curiosity to really get control of a situation and de-escalate it. I am curious about the time piece, though, Mike. What do you mean by getting curious? How that saves time for officers?
Well, especially, I know Lawrence said sometimes you don't want to save time, but if you have a patrol officer that's running from call to call and you don't have 15, 20 minutes to sit down and try to break things down, sometimes you need to get right to, the topic at hand. And if you can get to that, it saves time, and it's safer. The person is more confident in you relaying information to you. And even in investigations, you don't want to do a lot of unnecessary steps. You don't want to take those steps because some investigations may take hours to days to do. You're actually around the clock there. So if you can cut out some unnecessary steps, which insight policing allows you to do by asking those curious questions, and you're more successful.
Wow. Okay, so you're basically saying that asking curious questions that are targeted at a person's, feelings or emotions, their decision making, that it gets right to the root of the problem and it actually saves you time.
Right, exactly.
Cool. All right. Well, shall we look at this video of this Baltimore officer? It's a video we use in our trainings every single time. It can be a little bit controversial because there's definitely an armed suspect. So what you're going to see is there's a guy, right? You're going to see an officer trying to get a guy to drop his knife. And he does this by asking curious questions. He's not trained in insight policing, but he's basically doing insight policing without even knowing that he is. So he's asking questions and he's listening to the man's answers. And that's so key. He's following the person to really understand what's he doing with this knife and why, right? And by the end of it, we'll see that the guy drops his knife. So as you're watching with us, listen to the questions that the officer asks and see how they're specifically targeted and what they do. Sound good?
Yep.
Okay.
Excellent.
All right, I'm going to share my screen real quick. let's see, you're going to see, hold on just, you're going to see us on YouTube. Cool. All right. Okay. It should be full screen. You guys see that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yes, it is.
Okay. We didn't get the audio there. So we'll try this again.
I'm not dealing with life no more, sir. Why? I'm done with it. Officer Villarong, by the way. You can call me V. Come on, man. Just do your job, man. Y'all supposed to this is our job. It's not your job. Yes, it is. Man has got a knife in his hand. He's threatening us saying to hurt someone out here. And all of a sudden, y'all don't do nothing. So what do you... It's a knife in his hand. It's a threat. Are you're not... You're not... It's a threat. It is. Why do you want us to hurt you, man? Why do you want us to do that? We can have you sit down right here on this curb and we can talk to you. We can't do that? Huh? Or we just can't sit down and talk to you real quick and just try to resolve a little bit of this? The only thing y'all going to do is sit me down, take my knife, take me to the bushes, and that's it. We don't have to take your knife. You can drop it on your own. You don't want to drop it? Why? I'm not taking it from you. You're dropping it. Why do you need to have it in your hand right now? From who? Everybody in this whole world. Everybody. 187 guys, you're not getting close behind them. Mr. Let's just talk to you real quick, man. Mr. Just talk to you real quick, please. Stop. Let's not get this further than where we need to, all right? Just drop it down. Please. Just drop it, bro. Just drop it. Why don't I want to shoot you? Huh? Why don't y'all want to shoot me? Because we don't want to. I don't want to live, though. Can you just talk to me right now? Everybody, just go across the street. Stand across the street. Just stand right here, man. Just drop it right here. Just drop it right here, man. I can talk to you. Look, I'm 38 years old. I can relate to you, bro. There's not a thing in this world that I have not dealt with that you probably have dealt with. Okay? At the end of the day, I got kids to go home to. Appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. Just relax. Just relax. Just relax. Relax. I appreciate it. I appreciate it, all right?
Okay. Nice. Stop the share there. All right. So what do you guys think? What kinds of questions did you hear him say, and what were the impact of those questions?
Well, he was asking like decision-making type questions, like why do you have the knife? Why are you out here? What I think it did. I think the officer, he was calm. He brought the guy was trying to escalate a little bit. He was trying to get a little anxious, but the officer remained calm. And he asked the important questions. He made statements and made the officer seem like a real person. It was no guns drawn, and he did get kind of close in the end. I mean, a little closer, than I would like to do, to see for safety purposes. But he handled that situation. He even talked the other officers back and said, "Look, let me deal with it." It was one person dealing with the guy, and that they did a perfect job with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the things you said is from, when we first started this, and as long as I've been a police officer, I had to continually tell myself not to judge his actions. And from the things that you've taught us in Inside Policing there, Megan, or Doctor, I really did follow what he was doing after hearing your teaching. It was like, okay, he's working it from what he's feeding basically off of what the guy's telling him, to get him to calm down and understand what's going on with him. Now, I still do a little more judging than I would like to, but I would like to learn how to get better at communicating with people on that level. So we would come out without what that lady said earlier about deterring from the bullet. I really did like that too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
he did a lot.
Yeah, I mean, he asked questions like, why do you want us to hurt you, right? Why would you want us to do that? Why can't we just sit down and talk here? You know, why can't we just talk this through? You know, oh, and he listened, right? Okay, so I don't want to drop it because then you're just going to take my knife. All right, so feeding off of that, right? Building off of that information. Well, why don't you want to drop it? What will happen if we take your knife? You know, then I won't be able to protect myself. Protect yourself from who? Everyone in the whole world. So by asking these questions, the officer gets a rich understanding of what this man is doing out there anyway. He is having a mental crisis. He's trying to get hurt by the police, right? There are things going on in his life that are bringing him down, and so he's taken this drastic step to threaten officers with a knife, right? And so knowing that, the officer is positioned to be able to relate to the guy. Look, man, I'm 38 years old. I've been through a lot. I understand that you're going through a lot. Like, we can do this in a different way. And the fact that he had built that connection and that rapport by asking questions and getting the man to start thinking about, well, why am I here? And is this really the right way? Is this really the best way to deal with the issues that I have? You know, he was able to hand over the knife and you know, relax and trust Officer V in a way that was pretty remarkable to see, I thought.
Which was his objective, to get him, ultimately, they want him to drop the knife to bring the tension down. And he did a great job of de-escalating that tension in that situation. So kudos to that officer.
Kudos.
And for our audience, when they do watch this, please try not to judge, because everybody's going to come up with I wouldn't have. Like, I know I went through that a couple times, as many times as I've seen that video. And listen to what he's saying as opposed to what's going on. Listen to him.
Yeah, definitely makes a difference. All right. So stay curious, get curious, ask the questions, try to understand, you know, where's somebody coming from when they're escalated in that way. And you'll find the answers.
There you go. We need this de-escalation. This insight policing is necessary, is relevant. And Dr. Price is here to provide us all with the theory. Lawrence and I, we assist, we co-train, and just assist Dr. Price with the theory and tell how it related, show how it related in our police experiences. So it's a great class. So we definitely need to get more people involved and more officers.
Yeah, definitely. And subscribe to the channel, comment in the comment box, like the video or otherwise. And feel free to submit any questions or topics that you want to hear us talk about. All right. Thanks, everybody.